Hello everyone, my name is Cliff and welcome back to my channel. This is Cliff's Dark Gems. Today I'm going to be doing my November TBR, and this includes my participation in the Cryptid Readathon, a read with Ollie's Patreon, and a whole lot more. Please stay tuned. Okay everyone, for this readathon, first and foremost I'm taking part in the Cryptid Readathon. Now before I actually started looking up books for this readathon, I had very little idea what cryptids was all about. I soon found out, you got those creatures like a Bigfoot, Wendigo. I don't even know what that is yet, but I'm going to read a book about it. And this readathon is hosted by the following people. Jason from Jason's Weird Reads, Sin from Sin's Book Nook, and Crystal from FiberRT, and I'm going to link all those awesome channels down below, so go and check them out. Now I also told you in the last video that I've got a very busy weekend, so I've been actually filming this with the same t-shirt on. I'm filming this straight after my previous video, so even though it's Sunday, I actually filmed this on Friday. So yeah, just to let you know, that's why I've got my Pink Floyd t-shirt on still. Let's get going. Okay, the readathon has 5 prompts. The first one being, read a book about your favorite cryptid. Now, I didn't know what my favorite cryptid was. And what I read, in fact it's the last book I read, the first book I read this month, so I think it kind of counts. I read The Haunted Forest Tour, and on Goodreads this is said to be a cryptid novel, although yeah, it's just a fantastic horror novel with lots of creatures in this haunted forest. And yeah, some of them I'm pretty sure were cryptids, including this giant Bigfoot like creature, almost like an ogre. I think it was more described as an ogre, but they were flippin' terrifying. And if I'm going to choose most terrifying cryptid or a favorite cryptid, it will have to be that. But yeah, if you haven't read The Haunted Forest Tour, just do yourselves a favor and pick that up. It's a lot of fun. Second prompt is, read a book about a cryptid you would not like to run into alone in a dark alley. Now I'm going with merely because of the cover, and also it's been recommended by some of our hosts. I'm going with Below by Laurel Hightower. Now the cover is this, I think this Mothman, almost like a vampire bat thing. It's got these glowing red eyes. That just looks freaking terrifying. And I think what the book's about is that this woman has a choice, like how far would you go with helping someone? And yeah, she runs into a terrifying situation. So I'm looking forward to reading this. And that's something else I wanted to say. It's very short. As from the 6th of November, I'm going to be reading a lot more short novels and novellas. And the reason being is because I'm taking part in the 100 book challenge, Read What You Own 100 book challenge. And this was created by Ollie at Criminally, and there are a lot of people getting involved. So think about getting involved yourselves. It doesn't have to be 100 books, it could be 25, 50, 75. You can set the parameters of your challenge. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I've been buying a lot of new books on my Kindle. I've been buying a lot of physical books, and so I should be good to go. But yeah, so the second one is going to be, the second book is going to be Below by Laurel Hightower. And you're going to notice that I've actually got quite a big mix of different types of horror. For my physical books, I've got some classical stuff, I've got some vintage horror, and most of the stuff on my Kindle, all of it very short, most of it very short, is going to be more modern, up-to-date kind of titles, maybe after 2018, 2019. So it's going to be a good month, but I'm putting a hell of a lot on my TBR. The third prompt is read a book about a water-based cryptid. Now I found this extreme novella on my Kindle, and it's called There's Something in the Water, an Extreme Cryptid Tale by Eric Butler. So, something in the water, extreme cryptid, yeah, go figure, it must be a cryptid tale about something in the water. And it's about these two men who are fighting over this lake property. And that's pretty much all I know about it, and there must be something very horrifying in the lake. The fourth prompt is read a book about a forest-based cryptid. And I'm going with The Wendigo by Algernon Blackwood. And it's basically about two men and their servants in a forest, in a wood, and they getting pursued, I think, or followed by a Wendigo. No, I have no idea what a Wendigo is yet. So I'm obviously going to find out about this creature when I read the novella, another short one. The fifth prompt is an interesting one. It's read a story featuring a cryptid that has been sighted near you. Now, I cannot find an actual novel or even a non-fiction. I looked in my second-hand bookshop about South African cryptids, but there's a lot of information about that online. So what I'm going to do when I give feedback on this readathon is I'm going to tell you about some South African cryptids, and there's one specifically from Zulu culture called the Tokolosh, which is quite entertaining. And so yeah, I'm going to look up a couple of South African cryptids and share them with you once I've done a bit of research. That's prompt number 5. Okay, now let's look at some physical books quickly. Sixth book I'm going to try and read. I'll try and read all of these, obviously, is Peter Straub, Full Circle. Nice and short, and it's about a haunting. It's about a tragedy. I think a couple will lose their child, and this creepy little child probably looks something like this, starts haunting the mother and haunting the place where they stay. So I love Peter Straub's ghost story, so this should be interesting. And I love the blood dripping off the hand there as well. So that is Full Circle. Okay, seventh one is The Lair of the White Worm by Bram Stoker. Obviously, he's far more famous for Dracula, but I'd like to read something else that he has written. I haven't heard amazing things about this, but let's just look at the back very quickly. When Adam Salton travels to England to visit his grand uncle, he discovers that for some time local people have been disappearing without a trace. A dead child has been found on the roadside, and sheep and other animals have been discovered, dying or wounded. What is the secret of the haunted hills? I will guess The Lair of the White Worm. Eighth book is James Herbert Fluke. I loved The Spear and Rats and a couple of others. What is this about? He was a stringy mongrel wandering the streets of the city, driven by ravenous hunger and hunting a quarry he could not define. But he was something more. Something in the depths of his consciousness was a memory clawing its way to the surface, tormenting him, refusing to let him rest. The memory of what he had once been, a human. So, it's about a dog that remembers that he was once human. That's a very interesting premise. Next up, the ninth book is Mania by Guy and Smith. Now, what is a TBR with at least one Guy and Smith book? Haven't read one for a while actually. These are normally full of corny horror. Very much a kind of book that would be perfect for Garb August. But I decided to read this one this month as well. And Into the World, Step 3, Unwitting Travelers. Driven by a blizzard to seek refuge in a hotel. A hotel where the guests live in a diabolical world of lunacy and madness, where demented creatures prowl the darkness, prowl the corridors, where putrefying flesh lies in the cellar, and blood-curdling screams echo from the bedrooms. Yeah, sounds just like Guy and Smith. That should be fun. Mania. And the 10th book, we got Rosemary's Baby by Ira Levine, a true classic. Now I was supposed to read this last month, I didn't get to it. This will be a reread for me about Satanists, about this pregnant woman in this apartment block. And yeah, it's truly terrifying, and you have to love that cover as well, which I've mentioned, with the little baby hand coming up there out of the pram. So very, very creepy. I'm looking forward to giving us a reread. Next up, we got my first novel by Poppy Z. Bright, Lost Souls. I know there's another Poppy Z. Bright that I'm dying to read, but I can't remember the name. But this is the one I own, so I'm going to go for it this month. Once again, fairly short. And let's just look at what it's about. I know that it's set in New Orleans. In the French quarter of New Orleans, the Mardi Gras revelers concealed a group of pleasure seekers who preferred to wear black, gothic, black vampires. For Zilla, Molokai and Twig, the party had been going on for centuries, fueled by sexual frenzy, green, I'm going to probably pronounce this incorrectly, chartreuse, that must be some kind of drink, and a cocktail of vodka and innocent blood. But yeah, she's known to being very, very bloody, very gory, but I've been looking to reading one of her novels after reading her short story collection, which was very erotic and very horrific, but I really enjoyed it. So that is Lost Souls by Poppy Z. Bright. And my final physical book is Nocturn by John Connolly. Now this is also going to be a reread. I'm going to try and read all of it, but considering how many books that I have to read this month, well, a lot of the others are short stories, but yeah, this is quite long. It's a collection of short stories, and I'm reading it for Ollie from Criminolly for his patron read for this month. So that's going to be kind of fun. That is Nocturnes by John Connolly. Okay, now we've got 4 books on my Kindle. I'm going to try and read more if I manage to get through all of this. In 13th position is a book I'm actually reading right now, and that is 10 Days of Flesh by Augustina Bazterrica, I think. And yeah, it's set in a dystopian future. I'm finding it kind of disturbing right now, and that's weird because I actually don't have a problem with a lot of extreme stuff, but it is kind of making my gut, it's a little bit sickening. And it's in a future where it's no longer possible to eat livestock, because it's fatal to humans. So over a period of time, it's kind of now become legitimate and okay to harvest humans for meat. So yeah, this is kind of quite a sick premise. I can't say I'm not enjoying it. It's interesting, it's very interesting, but even just the first 15-20%, which I'm on at the moment, is kind of disturbing. So it's definitely not for everyone, and that is Tender is the Flesh. And the 14th book is Fear Me by Tim Curran. It's very short, and it's set in a maximum, I love the premise of this, by the way, it's set in a maximum security prison where you get all sorts, rapists, murderers, pretty much everything. Enter a skinny little boy, and before you know it, obviously the hardened criminals are all over him, giving him a hard time. What do? They start dying horrible deaths at night. Anyone who messes with this boy starts dying a horrible death. That's all I know, that's all I want to know. That sounds like a really interesting book. Next up we have a novella called Who Goes There by John Campbell. Now this is a book on which the movie The Thing was based, and I absolutely love The Thing by John Carpenter, absolutely terrifying, and it's about this alien creature. I think the book is about an alien creature who crash lands on Earth, and these people find it, these researchers find it, they thaw it out, and yet bad things start to happen. If it's anything like the movie, I'm really looking forward to reading this short little book. That is Who Goes There. And finally, you've got a very short story called Crawl by Edward Lawn, who just happens to be another booktuber, so check out his channel. So I'm looking forward to reading this story, seeing how he writes. But basically it's about this person, I think this woman who's crippled, she's left for dead, I think it's a car accident, in the middle of the woods, in the middle of this forest. And there's something there, there's something waiting for her, or out to get her. And I suppose she has to start crawling. That could be a lot of fun. Very short and sweet. Okay everyone, so that's my TBR for November. Now I would potentially like to read a little bit more than that because I've got so many short stories there. So we'll see how we go. But that's it. If you enjoy my comment, please be sure to like and subscribe. Take care of yourselves, keep those pages turning, and cheers.